I always thought we had control over things, and I don't think we have any control over things.
Sarah Butler is the author of 4 cookbooks. She's a television and radio personality, a podcaster, a brand ambassador, and a dear friend of mine. She is an amazing, inspirational woman working hard to educate us more on eating better nutritional food. Sarah Butler, welcome back to Garry Talks.
I trust what will be. And I think if you work really hard and just let things come, the right things will come to you, and the things that aren't meant to be, and you can't just keep chasing something that's not meant to be.
You were talking about going in, showing people about shopping and reading food labels. And I went home and I bought some chicken.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the back and there was like so much crap in this chicken. And I was like, I thought I was literally just buying plain chicken. And I was like, oh, this is scary.
Well, it's so scary because really the wool has been pulled over our eyes.
This is a GK Media podcast.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Sarah Butler, welcome back to studio.
Thank you so much. I forgot there was a camera on me. I just crossed my eyes.
So you're making a funny face. Bonus for anyone who's watching the video.
Yeah.
The last time you were in studio, you had just done your 3rd book. It was a few months out. And you're on episode 54 of Garry Talks. And we're on episode, I think, 115, 16 now.
We've both been busy.
You've been very busy. And you have a first one to flag, your amazing new book, Batch Cooking. And I absolutely love the feel of it straight away. It's like, you know, if you're giving someone a business card and they're a very important person, it has to be a good quality business card because that's instantaneous feel you get from the card. Tells you about their reputation. But this just feels amazing. Like I could stroke this in bed all night.
There you go.
With the book.
You can bring me to bed whenever you want.
Look, it's a fantastic book. Batch Cooking, it's just out now, an ideal gift for people for Christmas. And it's not that I brought you on the show so we can be pushing the book.
No.
But I've known you for a few years now, and I know how much hard work you put in to putting something like this together. And you've been so vocal about the benefits of batch cooking. And when you do something, you put your heart completely into it and you do the best possible job. And when I have this book now in my hands, I can see like you're just amazing at what you do, and well done.
Thank you.
And getting through all the stress and challenges.
Every week for a positive pep talk from Garry. Thanks.
Tell people about the fun of putting a book together.
Well, I wasn't actually going to do another book. That was it. After every book, that's it now. No more books. Because the last 2 weeks are hell on earth.
Yeah.
It's fine up until then. And then the last 2 weeks, you just want.
But this has been like stress galore for you for months now.
Yeah, it's been. Well, you see, I suppose the thing is, if all I was doing was the book, it would be fine. But it's the book and everything else. We went away to Spain in April this year. And for a break, switch off.
You just went grocery shopping all week.
Yeah, I did. I ate for the week and was recording content in my element because their supermarkets over there are just amazing. Fresh fruit and veg and butchers and everything. But anyways, when I did get to sit on the beach for a whole 5 minutes, I started to think about, I suppose, when you're go all the time, you can sometimes lose sight of what you're going for and get caught up in just working the rat race. So when you stop, I think as a creative person as well, you need to do that to kind of recalibrate and go back to where you want to go, find your path, I suppose. So when I did stop and relax in Spain and had a little bit of time to think, I realised, even though I already knew, but I suppose it was so busy, I didn't get time to put 2 and 2 together. And go, like, people are really struggling with batch cooking. And I wonder if I wrote a book on batch cooking and the recipes are explained how you can freeze this, because people will always say, is this safe in the fridge? How long will it stay safe for? I'm terrified I'm going to poison someone. So I was like, wouldn't it be so cool? And you went through, you know, I suppose all the questions that I'm always asked.
But I suppose the fear about batch cooking is that it's just bland and it's like, oh God, I'm eating this for the next 2 days.
I think it's more about the way you do it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're making a pot of soup that's going to feed 20 people for the week. And it's not about eating the same thing every day. But once you learn how to do it, you know, I have my bag of chicken curry at home. So I chopped up the chicken. I have it soaking in some buttermilk that'll tenderize it with lots of lovely spices and ginger and chili. And then I have a bag of all my peppers and my onions. So I have my 2 bags. And all I need to do is either pop them in the oven, which is a great way to do a curry because you can walk away and do other stuff, or fry them. That element is gone of, I have to cut the chicken up and I need to be back out the door in 20 minutes. So that is I suppose, a style of batch cooking. I didn't cook it, but it's ready to go, you know, or make a big bolognese. I have a bolognese in the oven now since this morning. I'll have lots left over. So we'll have spaghetti bolognese tonight. I'll make a lasagna with the leftovers and freeze that. And pull it out another day.
Yeah, so it's not the exact same dinner for 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were talking about people don't know how long to freeze something for, and you were educating me outside earlier that it's so important of not letting, you know, a dish drop below a temperature.
Yeah.
So, you know, what we do sometimes at home is if we're cooking something and we're going to have it the next day, we leave it out for a few hours to cool down. And you're saying, no, that's really not the way to do it.
Not ideal. Now, I mean, you have to be realistic as well and practical. I don't want to by any means terrify anyone. I have left pots of bolognese out or pots of chicken curry out and woken in the morning going, oh no, I forgot to put that in the fridge, and eaten it, and it's been fine. And this is not to scaremonger people at all. It's just really to educate and just explain to people the theory behind it. So as I said to you, you know, it's all about the temperatures. So you can freeze, reheat, cook things as often as you like, as long as the temperature doesn't go below. So if you've got a chicken curry frozen, defrost it in your fridge. That way it maintains at a level. Whereas if you defrost it on the counter overnight and your kitchen is quite warm, you're going to start, you know, growing bacteria there. And then if you cook that and you have it left over, you only have to wait about 20 minutes before you can put it in your fridge. So you don't put it in your fridge piping hot, or it's going to mess up the temperatures of everything else in your fridge. Okay. So you can leave it up to 2 hours. 2 hours and then you pop it in. But generally I try to get it in there maybe after half an hour. And again, it's all about the temperatures. So once it's maintained, you can put that back in the oven tomorrow. Put it back in the fridge. Yeah. You know, you're going to lose taste, quality, nutrients, but you can eat it. It's perfectly fine to eat. It's all about keeping it at a certain temperature and not leaving it out.
Okay, so if it's hot, let it cool down for max 2 hours.
Max
put it in the fridge.
2 hours.
If you're taking something out of the freezer, put it in the fridge rather than on the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
For the day.
Which we've all done.
Yeah.
You know, so many people message me going, I always did that. You know, and that's fine. It's just that 1%.
Yeah, because you were telling me before about, you know, just boil loads of eggs. Because I say I would eat a few eggs during the week, but I find it hard in the morning. Sometimes if I'm running out the door, it's like, oh no, I spent 10 minutes boiling eggs. You say just boil loads of eggs and then put them in the fridge and they last like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, which is great. And you said a key word for me there was educate.
Yeah.
And before I move into my next thing, I just want to tell people, you know, we're talking about stews, goujons, curries, pies, breads, focaccia. Love it. One of the best breads ever. There's like loads and loads of recipes, and it's a book you can work through and write ideas down. There's loads of practical advice and so on. It's a fantastic book. And last time when you were in studio, which was over a year ago, it's hard to believe it's a year ago. It feels like years ago at this stage.
It does seem like a lot longer than that.
But after we finished doing our chat for the episode 54, we started talking about different ideas, and you had said to me that you had an idea of a TV show. And I started getting all excited because I was like, oh, this is the sort of stuff that we've actually been having talks about internally, doing a show on. And we were bouncing back and forth for about an hour or so with different ideas. And we ended up going into production to make a TV pilot.
Yes.
Really focused around education, sustainability, home cooking, availing of the amazing Irish produce we have around us.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the project?
Yes, it was. You actually asked me off air after we finished the podcast. So you said, what would you love to do? And I said, I'd love to do a TV show that's for real people. So you might have Laura, who's got 4 kids and she's working full time, and she's just finding she doesn't have the time to put nice dinners, wholesome dinners. So she's just throwing like frozen nuggets and chips and pizzas, and she's feeling so bad about that. And like the sweets and the sugar and fizzy drinks, and it just spirals, and it's so easy to happen. So that's just one example that I could go and visit Laura and sit down and chat to her. Just normal, real life. Bring her shopping, see how she shops. Help her go, well, why don't you try this one instead of that one? And if you're going to get this, let's, maybe make 2 different dinners because you're going to have leftover. Or if you can freeze them, then you can freeze them, and then come home and help her. And while I'm there, I suppose a little bit of to support our growers as well here in Ireland, because we're so blessed with such amazing growers. So let's just say Laura's in Monaghan, that we can visit maybe a local beekeeper or a local grower or a local farm, use their produce in my kitchen and make a really nice family dish. So it's kind of like showcasing our Irish growers and producers, helping people, and it will be different types of dynamics. So you have a family of 4, and then you may have a college student who just don't know how to cook, full stop, and I can teach them the basics. You could have a bachelor who needs a little bit of help, or somebody living on their own who finds it hard because it's so hard to cook for one person. So not just the same people all the time. Yeah. I would love that. That's what I wanted to do. So you ever so kindly jumped on the crazy bandwagon of Sarah Butler and my mad ideas. Yeah. And we had so much fun.
Brilliant fun.
And it was brilliant. And
so we went into a house with a mother who had a few boys. Yeah. And again, she had those challenges where the lads come home and they're hungry after school and they're taking things out of the freezer and out of the fridge, and she's trying to juggle a full-time job herself and keep the lads fed and then bring them to soccer training and football training and so on. And yeah, it's just that thing of taking the frozen pizza out of the freezer is so much easier than
We've all
taking
been there.
pots out and taking things out and deciding what to cook and all that. And it's just creating that environment where it becomes a seamless operation. Everyone is eating nutritious, healthy food. Yeah. And there was a student who just lived on noodles and donuts and stuff. And we got to go to local markets and Castle Bar.
We went to visit Glassray Farm. That's all organic.
Yeah.
And
we went to Ashford Castle as well.
Ashford Castle. They were so helpful. We got to see their own, where they grow everything, and to see how it's done with the sustainability, that any waste from Ashford Castle goes back in to compost the vegetables in their gardens. And that was just amazing. We got to speak to their top chef, their grower, so amazing. I would love to be someone sitting at home going, it's like a behind the scenes, we can see the 5-star, one of the most famous hotels in the world, but to see the food element of it and to speak to their award-winning chefs. Yeah.
And how serious they take sustainability.
So passionate.
Because I would have thought, in my blissful ignorance, of, look, they're a 5-star hotel. They don't need to be doing all this. Yeah. Going above and beyond. And it's not even that they're shining the spotlight on it. They're just doing this.
That's it.
Because they want to do it.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. And then we met Paula as well, who does the amazing
Paula
chocolates.
Pastries. Oh my God, she does just beautiful creations, and we all got lots of lovely chocolate.
We did, yeah.
I got an egg. Big lovely Easter egg.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great shoot because we got so much amazing food.
Yeah. Well, that was it. And they were so happy to be showcased, I suppose. So now we have our lovely pilot, and we're just trying to figure out a way to get it to the public.
Yeah, it's like a 30-minute show.
30-minute show.
And it's the start of hopefully a series to come. And it's just putting it out there into the universe now to see, what to do with it, what direction to go in, because I suppose we could go down the traditional route of talking to a broadcaster and getting it on television, or we could go down, the digital marketing route of putting it up on a YouTube channel or whatever. Because there has been, shall we say, organizations out there who are interested and getting on board as sponsors and working with teams, and whether that's private sponsorship or public organizations getting on board because it ticks their boxes for sustainability, for supporting local farmers, showcasing Irish heritage as well, and all that. So, what will 2025 bring? We'll wait and see.
Fully, yeah.
But if there are people who would be interested
definitely
finding out more, please do get in touch.
It's just to get, you're so good at what you guys do here. You can go so far, and then it's just a case of what direction do we go with it next? And obviously these things don't fund themselves, it's hours and days and retakes, the amount of work.
Yeah.
That's one thing I couldn't believe, how much work was involved.
Yeah. No, there was a huge amount of work put in, but I think we all took great pride in showcasing what we have here in Ireland.
Yeah, yeah.
And just how easy it was to work with people, how people love to show off the produce that they're working on.
Again, just very natural, not staged. You're working with a normal mum, a normal guy who's growing his vegetables, that they need our support so badly. Our growers, our farmers, our butchers, we're just going to be gobbled up by the big guys, and we're going to be so sorry for our health.
Yeah. Like I was in a supermarket there at the weekend and you were talking about going in, showing people about shopping and reading food labels. And I went home and I bought some chicken, and the missus scanned it in on an app on the phone that kind of tells you.
The Yuka app.
The Yuka app,
Love the Yuka app.
You told us about. And it was like really poor. And I was like, how is this so poor? Why is it getting a rating of like 31 out of 100?
Yeah.
And then I looked at the back and there was like so much crap in this chicken. And I was like, I thought I was literally just buying plain chicken, but no, there's loads of gums and words I can't even stabilize, even words I can't pronounce, like Christophorus, that was in it. And I said, oh, this is scary.
Well, it's so scary because the wool has been pulled over our eyes with packaging design. And I don't know, is that the graphic designer in me? It's the no added sugar. People immediately think there's no sugar in this, but there's no added sugar on top of the sugar. And I mean, we all know how bad sugar is. So bad. I mean, everything in moderation, of course. But when you think you're eating something, like the amount of people that said to me, oh my gosh, I was sending my kids to school with these yogurt drinks thinking they were healthy for their gut, and they've just got lots of sugar in them.
Yeah.
As I always say, I'm not here to headbang about this. I'm not here to make people feel bad. But if you're going to have sugar, I want some chocolate cake. I don't want to be eating something that I think is healthy. And then people are going, why have I got this muffin top? Why am I doing everything right, but I'm not losing the weight, or I'm getting weight in a particular area? Because they think they're eating, and it's not about the weight thing, but it's the misleading information from these companies, and we have to get people aware of this now, or it's going to be too late, and we're going to lose our lovely natural growers and the safe food, the whole food.
Because I've known you for the last couple of years, I've been educated so much by you.
Well, thank you.
And I know it's a journey for people, but I really hope that they're beginning to open up and tune in to the fact that really a lot of stuff that we're buying, taken off shelves, is not good for us. And if we can just move more back to what was happening a generation or two ago, of home cooking with local produce. And even if it's not local produce, read your labels in your supermarket. No, and like there are supermarkets, it's a vicious circle. There are supermarkets trying to make change. And sometimes that change is slow, but we as the people have to be a catalyst for that change by demanding better, cleaner, healthier food. So that 1 in 2 people don't end up with cancer. We don't all end up with, blood sugar issues and diabetes.
Obesity. See it with children, huge increase in obesity. And I'm in no way trained or I'm a graphic designer. I have no training. I'm not a nutritionist, but I do have a pair of eyes in my head. And we can turn a blind eye all we like. But like, you're seeing kids at home on Xboxes, not exercising, eating pizzas, air fryer chicken nuggets. It's not good. And I know it's a lot harder to go and get your lovely meat from your butcher who knows where the meat came from. And I know I always bang on about that because we have to know what we're eating. We have the strongest traceability and highest of standards in our Irish meat, you know. And it's only in the past 4 years I've learned things like, you know, if a cow gets an antibiotic, that has to be traced, that antibiotic has to be scanned. They can't buy more fertilizer in their local little creamery or NCF that's meant to be bought, that's sprayed on the land for the grass to grow that the cows eat. Like, that is how high our standards are. And they're buying in beef from other countries that have very poor standards of traceability, and they're selling it going, we've got the cheapest beef in town.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with them? They don't care. Well, obviously they don't care, but we have to care.
Yeah.
You have to go to your local butcher. Support him. They're going to be gone. We're not going to have a choice but have that meat that's cheap. Sometimes it's not about the price of food. You know, people say, oh, the cost of food has gone so high. I will 100% disagree with that. 100%. You make a list, and we love giving out, so we do. And I can't be dealing with that. Like, stop giving out and let's fix it. Make a list of your dinners. Make a list of your ingredients. Like, I went into Super Value yesterday and I got a pile of fruit and veg. I think it was 40 quid. I went to my butcher, 20 quid. Now, I didn't have the kitchen roll and the detergents and all of that shop. You know, that shop always costs extra. But the food that I needed to make 5 dinners this week for the 4 of us came to 70 or 80 euros. If you think about it, and you're buying whole food. The only thing I buy in the frozen aisle is peas.
Okay, yeah.
You know, because I do it all from scratch. And yeah, it's really annoying to have to go home and wash everything and separate my meat and chop up my chicken. But damn, I'm glad of it when I'm sitting down to a lovely dinner.
Mm.
And, you know, that's what I get from people. Oh my gosh, like, my kids licked their plates. I have fussy eaters and they licked their plates. They wanted more. My husband said he's never been eating so well. It's like restaurant quality, but you're using just normal ingredients. I'm not using anything crazy. And it's just to sit down and think about it, because we can very easily turn around and go, oh, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Nobody is busier than me.
Yeah.
I need 4 Sarah Butlers to do a day. There's not enough hours in the day. I could really do what not having to sleep to get my stuff done.
That was such an inconvenience.
Oh my gosh. So that's no excuse. You have to make the time.
There's even certain foods at home that have e-colouring in them that I've noticed have sent the kids absolutely bonkers, jumping off the doors and bouncing off windows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we've cut them out, and they're the things that we immediately see, we're immediately aware of, and it's like, okay, let's not have this on the shopping list anymore. But then we don't know the other slower growth of change happening from bad food that we are feeding ourselves and possibly our children, our loved ones. And it's scary, and there's more and more stuff coming out. Even there was a research done a few years ago where in a prison they gave the prisoners multivitamins every day, and there was a certain, it might have been B complex or something they gave them as well every day. And the change in their behaviour and how everyone was more relaxed, more happier, more content. There was less aggression taking place in the prison and so on, because they were getting, now it's like the supplementary form of getting nutrition. You want to get nutrition ideally from your source food, but just the change that was having in people because they were deficient in certain vitamins.
Of course.
So the changes that we could all make for ourselves.
It's not just physical, it's mental. You know, I don't know if you ever saw that experiment they did with a rat, and they put a rat into a vat filled with water. So they put one rat in that had been fed like nice food for a rat. And in the middle they had a little podium. So the idea was to get him onto the podium. Could he find the podium? It wasn't a big area by any means. So the rat that had a good diet swam straight over to the podium. But the rat that had been fed high in sugar food and not anything with nutrients in it, it was amazing. He just swam around in circles, and it was like his just brain wasn't functioning at all.
Yeah.
So I suppose obviously they're rats, they're not humans, but when you look at it in that context, it's a little bit scary, you know, how lack of normal vitamins and minerals and overuse of sugar, of course it affects your brain. We all know what the kids are like when they've had a party and a can of Coke and a load of jellies. They're wired to the moon. You know, and look, as I keep saying, I'm not here to headbang about
it's a balance.
It's everything in moderation.
But you go on about the cost of, you know, everything's gone up in the cost of living and the cost of food. And again, things, you know, there have been increases, certainly with energy and fuel. But if you're filling your trolley up with absolute crap and then going to the till, giving off, do you need all that crap? And again, look at Halloween, the amount of sweets that were accumulated.
And Christmas
is coming. Then you're going to have Easter and everything.
Yeah. It's a machine. It really is. And consumerism and the marketing tactics that they have, you know, 3 for 2. Sometimes it's just impossible but to buy the special offers because they're so good, but they're, you know, generally on processed food. They don't have like 20% off in the vegetable aisle or whatever. Even if you go into a petrol station, you've seen me, I always bring my own lunch because there's nothing healthy in a petrol station. It's so bad.
I bring my own lunch to work now because you gave me an absolute bollocking when you saw the stuff that was coming out, the powder coming out of a bag. And you're like, what are you eating? No. And you started showing me all the stuff on the label of what was in it. And so I now actually batch cook chicken thighs last night. And throw on loads of peppers and onions.
And the thing you find, and if a lady said it to me recently, she said, I don't snack.
No.
Because you're eating good whole food. So you're satiated. Your body is content. And another thing that we don't do, and I think we're going to lose it if we're not careful, is enjoying food. Sit down, take the time to eat it. That's, I think, an awful lot of why people have stomach issues. They're just inhaling it on their phones. They're not tasting it. I watch people now. I am a very slow eater, but people eat so quickly and their portion sizes are huge. It takes 20 minutes for your brain to realise that you're full.
Yeah. And the worst thing you can do is eat while standing, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a nutrition, I think it might have been on Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett there recently. And they're just saying how it's so bad for the body and the body gets stressed.
Yeah, because it needs to be relaxed to digest.
It needs to be relaxed when exactly. So it's not taking what it needs from the food and it's stressed and so on. And it's not the ideal way because ultimately we're giving our body fuel and you want to give yourself good fuel.
Yeah. So if you eat good food, you're not going to be snacking. And it's hard and it's a hard habit to break. And I am a huge foodie. Like I wake up in the morning going, I can't wait for breakfast. I'm so happy that I have bolognese in the fridge. Some people aren't into food, but then they get into it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is what it's meant to taste like.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend and she said, I just eat to eat. And then she started making homemade recipes and she made my chicken korma and she was like, oh my God, and her husband was blown away. And then the next week she made the risotto and she was sending me pictures and that's what I love. I'm like, you got it. Yeah. You can do it. Other people say, I can't cook. Everybody can cook. And that's what my recipes, I keep them so simple, step by step. A lot of junior cert students use my recipes for their exams. Everyone can cook. We just have to keep it simple. And I suppose the fact that I'm not a trained chef or a professional cook, you can see that in my books because I'm writing them from a normal person's.
Yeah, and I think I'd said that in the last podcast. If not, I'd said it to you a good few times where, you know, other cookbooks that we have at home, they have ingredients in them that you'd want to climb the Himalayan mountains to find these ingredients. Yeah. Whereas here, it's simple, basic stuff and it tastes so good.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And it could be just that one additional ingredient that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
So it'd be great if just people get the confidence. Like, again, I've only started really cook myself in the last year or so because I was like, well, I can't cook.
Yeah.
But it's just when the ideas come through a book like this and you have content going up all the time and it's like, oh, that looks delicious.
Yeah,
Let's try that out. So look, I hope people avail of the opportunity of content that you're putting out there, whether it's in book form or on social media where you're doing brilliant. I mean, it's funny. One of the conversations we had last year was how you had 10,000 followers on Instagram and you lost them overnight because your account had gotten hacked. And now today you've over 200,000 followers on Instagram, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You've been on News Talk with Andrea. You've been on RTE with Maura and Dahi.
Yeah.
You've had an amazing year.
It's been amazing. It's just been incredible. Like I'm like blown away. But the one thing I'll say is, and I always have said it, people are great. People are so supportive and they're so lovely. They really are.
Yeah.
And they always give such lovely feedback. That really, really helps to kind of go, okay, people are enjoying it, because I am not one to take compliments or anything. I'm not sure.
With social media, though, if it comes from a genuine, authentic place, people get that. They connect with that, and they're attracted by that. And what you've been doing for so many years is all coming from a good place. You're doing it because you see the problem out there.
Yeah.
You know how good food can be, and you want to help people, because a lot of us, including myself, are completely clueless when it comes to home cooking.
Don't say that. Your brain believes everything you say.
Okay.
You're not clueless. No, you're well able.
I'm gorgeous. I'm gorgeous. I'm gorgeous. I'm gorgeous. But yeah, no, it's like a lot of us are struggling with.
And it's time, and it's the machine, and and I get that. Who has time to sit at home and make a big fancy dinner, but when you save the time back, like I'll spend maybe 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday, I'll do my food shop, and it's torture, and you have to come home and wash everything. You're like, oh my God, I'd love to be off for a walk or whatever instead. And then I'll batch cook a couple of things or batch prepare a couple of things. And then I'm like, that's great now. And the whole day is gone and I have to wash uniforms now and go to bed. But I'm skipping up the hall every morning going, I don't even need to think about what's for dinner today because it's already prepared in the fridge. Yeah. That in itself. Yeah. And you come home and it's the less mess as well.
Yeah, true.
I don't know about you, but I'm very messy. I use every pot and pan. And that's all clean up time. So to be able to come home and just go, right, that's in the slow cooker, or that stir fry just is bagged and needs to be just stir fried, and you clean up and you have that time back.
Yeah.
You get your time back. You're using the food that you've bought.
You're saving money as well.
You're saving money. Yeah. You really are saving money and time, and reducing that. Oh my God, what's for dinner? What's in the fridge? Oh, she won't eat that, so I'll have to get something for her. And that's it as well, trying to get food that everybody will eat. Yeah. But it just takes a little bit of time thinking and planning, and oh boy, does it pay off throughout the week.
And there's a huge hunger for this as well, because you have an event coming up in January in Castlebar in the TF Royal, and that's sold out in 2 hours. That's class. Because again, I know from being on, the other side of the table, where when you put something out there, you don't know is it going to be a success.
No, you've no idea. I think I'm addicted now to taking risks. I really wanted to do a cookery demonstration show, and I'm always asked by people, will you come here and do a cookery demo? But I mean, I'm not trained in this. People have to remember that I am not trained, number one, as a chef, number two, in TV, in standing in front of a camera, in talking to a crowd of people. I'm absolutely winging entirely everything. So the local hotel had contacted me a couple of times saying, would you do a show or whatever? And I'm like, oh God, I don't know. Like, I've never done this before. So we said, okay, let's do it. And it sold out in 2 hours. So it's on Women's Little Christmas. Nice. And I'm going to do 3-course cookery demonstration. Going to have a little bit of fun, and just a nice relaxing evening. And any demos that I do, I just think foodies are lovely people. And it's lovely to talk to people that are all into the same thing, or someone will ask a question. And I saw it in one I did recently for a local store. They were celebrating 60 years in business. So they asked me, would I come in and cook, do demonstrations? And the room was just so full of interested, genuine people, asking questions. And that's what I love. One lady was like, can you use this? And why did you do that? And could you do this? And I could see everyone else going, oh, good question. And I was standing there going like, this is amazing. Everybody here is interested. And I went around and showed them how it's looking now. And, you can do this or that. And everybody got a little taste and came up afterwards and had questions. And like, for me, that's insane, because I was never really good at many things. I was excellent at my job as a graphic designer and really good at that. Prior to that, school, I hated it. I was this awkward person at the back of the class and no interest in learning. So to get this opportunity to, I suppose, discover that I'm good at something else is amazing. you know.
Yeah. And you are becoming the go-to person. Even at home this week, I did some homemade brown bread, and the paper wrapping around the bread in the tray stuck to it.
Yeah.
And the wife's like, ask Sarah there what went wrong.
Well, just as well you did, because I commented, well done, it looked lovely when you took the paper off, and I'll see you on Wednesday. And you replied, Sarah, it's Tuesday, you're meant to be up. So thank God you made the brown bread, or you'd have been sitting here waiting for me while I'm at home.
Actually, we got fancy dishes as well that a worldwide known chef is endorsing.
Yes.
And there's bits chipping off them on us now.
Really?
Yeah. I think this thing costs over €100.
Well, I have two of them and they weren't chipping. What are you using to...
I don't know that I used a Brillo pad on them once.
Oh, no.
You don't
never
clean.
use a Brillo pad on a pan, even if it's endorsed by the best chef in the world. No.
So you have to do book 5 on how to clean sauce.
No, that's it now. No more books.
Dedicated to Garry.
No more books.
The last time when we were off air, I was saying to you, what's the big plan? What's the big wish? Okay. And a lot has happened, as I said, since we spoke initially in the first podcast 12, 18 months ago, between coming out with another book, being on News Talk, being on RTE, working with Carrick Dunn, working with Connacht Gold, back podcasting again, growing your social media following significantly. So when is the next time you're going to just kind of come back down again and give yourself that opportunity to think, okay, what do I want to do next? And what do you think that pull will be towards?
I always thought we had control over things. And I don't think we have any control over things. I have learned to become very... I would have always been, somebody that, wanted to be in control and get stressed out if things worked out, if things didn't work out. And I suppose I would have been quite a highly strung person, and I would have let things get to me a lot. And what I've learned from this journey, this past few years, we have absolutely no control. So unless someone's about to die, I tend not to worry too much about it. I trust what will be, will be. And I think if you work really hard and just let things come, the right things will come to you, and the things that aren't meant to be, and you can't just keep chasing something that's not meant to be. Whereas before I would have been like, get annoyed and why didn't I get that or whatever. My mindset has completely changed. It's more so in the past 12 months. I know what I want to do, and I will just do my very best with what I enjoy doing. I think if you enjoy doing what you're doing, it naturally will flow. Again, I'd love to just continue to do what I'm doing. I'd love to meet people. I love meeting people. So I would very much like next year to maybe tour a little and do some cookery demonstrations around Ireland. I'd love to travel. I'd love to go to Italy and meet up with a chef and him to teach me tips on Italian food, or go to France, or I'd love to do that. But that's, we'll keep throwing it back out there. But it's not as realistic as driving to Mullingar or Dublin and doing a cookery demo in a nice venue. And just doing what people, it's the people who've guided me. They're the ones that have guided me to batch cooking. It's from their questions and messages that wrote that book. It was them that inspired me to go, people are really struggling with freezing and time, so let's see if we can come up with a book that helps.
So make someone's Christmas this year and get Sarah Butler's home batch cooking book. That was a good link, wasn't it?
It is a great
Make someone's Christmas this year, get Sarah Butler's batch cooking book.
Yeah.
And get the other 3 as well if you want.
That's it. Yeah. No, it's a super book. And it's not even about batch cooking. If you don't want to batch cook, all the recipes in there, you can just cook away. And every recipe has how to prepare it ahead. So, for example, if you've got 10 minutes, every single recipe I've explained in 10 minutes, whether it's the night before or that morning, what you can do to just be ready. Whether it be peeling the veg or whatever. And then I have a section on every recipe, how long it will keep in the fridge, how to freeze it, how long it'll freeze for, how to defrost it, and how to reheat it. So if you only use it as a recipe book and not a batch cooking book, but all the recipes in there. That was another tricky thing. I was like, I'm going to put that in, but they don't batch cook well. So every recipe had to be one that froze well and that batch cooked well. But yeah, it's a super book. They're all super books. And I don't self-praise, but I do self-praise the books because they are all great books.
Yeah, it is. Well done.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll be back working together in 2025.
Hopefully we'll have our little TV show.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Put it out to the universe.
That's it. That's all we can do is our best.
Sarah, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Garry.